A president is reviewing a peace proposal he says he cannot accept. His alternative, in his own words, is to blast a country of 93 million people forever. And somewhere between those two statements, made minutes apart on the same Saturday morning, a war that was declared over is still running, still blockading, still turning ships around. This is what day 64 looks like, and you need to see all of it. Donald Trump stood before reporters and made 4 statements that cannot coexist. He said Iran submitted a 14-point peace proposal and that he will review it. He said he does not think he can make a deal. He said the alternative is to blast the hell out of them and finish them forever. And then he said again, he is reviewing the plan. A president reviewing a plan he does not believe in while threatening to destroy the country that wrote it on the same morning he told the world the war was essentially over. If that contradiction is bothering you, it should. Drop a comment right now with what you think is actually happening. We read every single one and feature the best analysis daily. Here is what makes this more than political noise. The 14-point proposal Iran submitted through Pakistani mediators is the most complete diplomatic document of this war. It has specific demands, non-aggression guarantees, not a ceasefire, not a pause, a formal legal commitment that the United States will not attack Iran again. Blockade lifting, end of war on all fronts, including Lebanon. 14 numbered points. And it lands on the desk of a president who, the night before submitting it to review, said on camera, recorded, broadcast, and printed in every major outlet, that he may be better off without a deal at all. On Saturday morning, Trump denied saying it. The video exists. The transcript exists. The denial also exists. All 3 are public record, and they all happened within 18 hours of each other. The non-aggression demand is the one demand this administration is least equipped to fulfill. Iran has watched the United States sign a nuclear agreement in 2015, then walk away in 2018. Iran watched nuclear negotiations proceed in February 2026, then watched American bombs fall on February 28th. A non-aggression guarantee from a government that has broken its commitment to Iran twice in 12 months is not a guarantee. It is a question about whether the word of this administration means anything at all. That is not opinion. That is the documented sequence of events that defines every calculation Iran is making right now. And that sequence is exactly why the first demand on a 14-point proposal is the one demand least likely to be accepted. Stay with this, because what Iran's parliament just did makes everything we've covered so far significantly more complicated. While Iran's foreign ministry was submitting peace terms through Pakistan, Iran's parliament was simultaneously moving to pass a law, not a military order, a law, permanently restricting passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Israeli vessels never allowed. Ships from hostile nations required to pay reparations for a transit permit. The United States Treasury Department, before that law even passed, issued an advisory warning every shipping company on Earth that paying Iran's future tolls would trigger American sanctions. The legal war over Hormuz is now being fought in 2 legislatures at once. Iran's parliament writing sovereignty into domestic law, the U.S. Treasury pre-sanctioning compliance with that law before it exists. Meanwhile, the physical war over Hormuz is measured in numbers that should alarm everyone watching. Before the war, 3,000 vessels crossed the strait each month. In March, 154 crossed. That is 5.1% of normal traffic. The UK Royal Navy confirmed traffic is down more than 90%. Oil and gas flows dropped from 20 million barrels per day to roughly 1 million. Analysts warn that existing fuel reserves will draw down in the coming weeks and that any gradual recovery cannot begin before June, only if a deal is reached in May. A May deal requires the 14-point proposal to move. And here is the detail about the man reviewing that proposal that nobody is talking about enough. Nick Stewart, newly added to the American negotiating team by Jared Kushner, is a former lobbyist whose Senate-filed records show more than $2 million spent on foreign policy work, including direct lobbying in 2026 for the Enhanced Iran Sanctions Act on behalf of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, an organization that has publicly and consistently advocated for military action against Iran. The man now helping review a proposal that demands the lifting of all sanctions spent his career building the architecture of those sanctions. That is not speculation. That is what is listed on his lobbying filings. The composition of the team reviewing Iran's proposal is itself an answer to the question of how likely that proposal is to be accepted. Two more facts are sitting at the center of this war that have not received the attention they require. First, Trump announced the withdrawal of 5,000 troops from Germany this week, with further reductions being considered in Italy and Spain. Republican chairs of both the House and Senate Armed Services Committees said they are very concerned. Germany said it anticipated the withdrawal. The Iran war's diplomatic fallout is now restructuring the American military footprint across the European theater in ways that affect the entire NATO architecture. Second, Iran's supreme leader has not been seen or heard from directly since he was announced as his father's successor following the strike. Iranian state media confirmed he was wounded in that strike, while simultaneously claiming he is in full health and carrying out his duties. The man whose theological and constitutional authority makes any peace agreement binding. The man whose signature on a non-aggression framework is the only signature that matters, is wounded, invisible, and officially described as healthy. The non-aggression guarantee Iran is asking for is, in the most direct terms, a guarantee against a third attempt on the life of the man who survived the second. 61% of Americans now call this war a mistake. Gas is $4.30. 48 ships have been turned around by the blockade in 20 days. The president denied remarks that exist on video. The new negotiator lobbied for sanctions. The proposal demands be lifted. The supreme leader is invisible. The parliament is writing Hormuz into law. And the 14-point proposal is sitting in the hands of a reviewing team whose history points toward rejection, waiting on a president who said out loud, on record, that he does not think he can make a deal. That is every verified fact in this story. Nothing added, nothing softened. If you've made it this far, you already understand more about this war than most people watching television news right now. Share this with one person who needs to see the full picture before the next move happens and the story changes again. And then answer this below. If Trump rejects the 14-point proposal and the alternative is resumed strikes, what does American domestic politics look like at day 90? With 61% already calling it a mistake, gas at $4.30, and Europe restructured. We read every answer. The sharpest ones get featured in tomorrow's analysis. If this kind of daily fact-first breakdown is what you want, hit subscribe. No spin, no filler, just the verified sequence of events every day before the next one starts.